my goodness, I am so excited to be back with you for an all new season 3 of the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show. Yes, I am so excited. And we are coming in hot and heavy, of course, with a topic that is always so near and dear to my heart, y'all. We're going to be talking all about happiness today because, whoo, child, honey, listen, I know that some of us need a little bit of happiness. More so, we need to learn how to create our own happiness. And so today I'm gonna challenge you to stop looking and to create your own happiness. Yes, I said it because we do have a choice to create our own happiness. What I want for you all to do is to let me know if you are here, where you are tuning in from in the comments so that I can give you a shout out for joining me live today. And so listen, let's first of all, let's get into it. If you have not listened to any of the other episodes of the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show, do yourself a favor, go back, listen to some of the other episodes because I do talk about happiness on some of the other episodes. And I'm always talking about happiness, purpose, and all those things. And so I'm very, very excited for you to go back and listen to that. You can find the show on all of the podcast channels that you might look at, as well as here live on whatever venue you're looking at us at right now. So let's get into it. Happiness. Well, first of all, I asked my audience questions. Hi, SBS. Thank you for joining me from Laurel, Maryland, I think, right? I asked my clients the questions, friends and everything like that. Are you truly happy? And a lot of them will say, yes, I'm happy. Oh, sure, I'm happy. Or, I'm happy today. I feel good today. Or, no, I don't feel good today, right? So I really wanted to start off with the definition of true happiness. So as y'all know, I'm a positive psychologist. What does that mean, Kiki? What does a positive psychologist mean? It is a thing. It's a person who studies happiness. It's a person who studies what goes right with you, right? Positive psychology is the study of what goes right with you versus only talking about what's wrong. Child, we can talk about what's wrong all day long. And as a matter of fact, most of us talk about only what's wrong. But how about we balance it out and start focusing on what's right as well? That's positive psychology. And that's what a positive psychologist is a person who really tries to look at what's good with you already, help you bring that to the forefront and keep walking in that. That's what that is. And so as a positive psychologist, who really talks a lot about happiness, purpose, resilience, all those things, I think that, really talking about the definition of true happiness is fitting at this point. So true happiness is really when you experience those positive emotions, like happiness or excitement or elatement or, amusement, all those happy emotions, love, kindness, all those things that you feel, those positive emotions, that is happiness. But that's not the only thing. True happiness is marked by positive emotions, more positive emotions than negative, right? But also that you have a sense of purpose in your life. You have a sense of worth. You have a sense of well-being in your life. So that means you think you matter, which you do, by the way, right? You think that you're worthy of being here, of doing all the great, amazing things that you do, which you are, by the way, right? And so happiness is feeling those positive emotions and also experiencing life from a place of purpose. And we all have purpose in our life. You were placed on this earth for a purpose, and your job is to figure out what that purpose is and to be able to share it with the world, period, point blank, right? That's our job, is to figure out what our purpose is, why we were placed on this earth, and to share it with the world. It doesn't have to be one purpose. It can be this over grand arching purpose that you have. Like my purpose is to really help women live more fulfilled and happy lives. How I do that, though, is what I call the vehicle. And the vehicle in which I do that, number one, thank you for watching the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show, because this is one of the ways that I do it. I also wrote a book. And I speak at conferences and in organizations and stuff like that. That's my vehicle on how I disseminate my overall and overarching purpose in life. And so I have meaning. I have a purpose in this life. And so therefore I consider myself to be a pretty happy person. I'm happy with my family, my friends, the work that I do. And so I'm overall happy. So that's one of the things that I wanted to get clear as we begin to talk about happiness today. But here's the thing. A lot of us think that we can't affect our own happiness. So that is the overarching definition. But here's the thing about happiness. When it comes to happiness, a lot of us don't think that we can affect it, but we can. Now, I will say this. There's a lot of research out there on happiness, and a couple of researchers came up with kind of like a formula for happiness, if you would say. And the numbers are not hard and fast. And so they'll come at me and be like, Kiki, you said this and this hard and fast, right? It's research, it's science. And so the numbers can shift a little bit. But in the research, it is said that your happiness genes, 50% is something that you were born with, right? It's in your genes. And so as that, song, I woke up like this. Yeah, a lot of you woke up like this, meaning you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. You probably know somebody who is always unhappy, right? Part of that can be genetic. Part of it can be their genetic disposition, how their genes were formed, that they are just they see the glass half empty versus half full. They just wake up on the wrong side of the bed every day. Okay, right? But the good news is that's only 50%, right? That's only 50%. 10% of our happiness is related to our current circumstances, right? So can you change your current circumstances? Absolutely, you can. Will it actually take some time sometimes? Absolutely. If I'm in a really bad situation, it may take some time for me to get out of that situation, but hopefully you might get in it, like get out of it, right? I mean, some of us have health issues, right? Some of those we might not get out of those, right away. Some of us might beat it and we might come out of it. But 10% of that happiness is based on your life circumstances. But the really, 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 really good news is 40% of our happiness is based on our day-to-day activity. Hello, somebody. Can we say good news? That's good news, because the way I see it, what I do and how I choose to show up on a day-to-day basis makes me happier, contributes to my happiness factor. And I think that that's great news, because we all have, for the most part, control over our own actions and what we do, right? Like that is great news, SBS. Like that's really, really great news. And as I've been doing this research, that one thing makes me so happy, because I know for a fact, if I do get up on the wrong side of bed, which, sometimes I can wake up and not be happy. I mean, I'm only human. You're only human. So I'm not saying that we have to be happy all the time, because I think that's what people think happiness is. We're like happy go lucky, and we have to just wake up and we have to be happy all the time. We can't get mad. We can't do any of those things. And that's just not true. We are all human beings. And so, of course, I get sad. Of course, I get mad and angry and those kinds of things, because those are human emotions. You can't have the positive without the bad. It's just the way life is, right? But when it comes to that 40%, I love it, because if I just change what I'm doing in the moment, or change what I'm doing that day, my daily routine, then I can create more happiness. And I think that the reason why I wanted to kick off season 3 of the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show is because I really wanted us to understand that we can be happy. There's so much that's been going on in our country, in our world lately, and I choose not to watch a lot of news, because it's just, it can be a downer. And I don't want it to be a downer for me. So I choose not to watch it, but it's still there. And I have to get my news from somewhere. So I rely on friends and family to kind of tell me what's going on in the world. That might not be the best thing to do, but I have to keep my sanity and stuff like that. But we are going through a lot of stuff. Like, we are going through so many things when it comes to our lives, right? I always say this: life continues. Life absolutely continues. And so no matter what, life continues unless it doesn't. And then, then that's a whole nother story, right? But as we wake up every day and we experience life, it is something that we have to contend with, right? Because I may wake up today and something, may be wrong with, myself. I might not feel good. One of my babies might not feel good. My husband, something like that. But life still goes on. So I got to deal with that. And I got to deal with everything else that I had to deal with, like work and everything like that. Right. So I think that we have to realize that life is going to continue to happen. We're going to continue to have, sickness and issues on the job and just different things like that, right? And it won't all be bad. There are going to be some great moments in our life as well, which is the ones that I like to focus on more than I like to focus on the bad. But it's going to happen. And because it's going to happen, I think that we need tools and resources to really understand happiness from our own standpoint, right? I think we really have to have these tools to really understand that happiness. And this was super evident to me when, the other day we woke up, my baby said, "Mommy, I don't feel good." Right. And I'm just like, ah, and when your kids, if you're a mom, you understand what I'm talking about so deeply. Like, when your kids are hurting, you are hurting, right? Your kids are hurting, you're hurting. And so he just wasn't feeling well. And, luckily, he's doing fine right now, but he's still, just not feeling well. Well, I have a work trip that I have to go on. And I always hate leaving when you got a child sick or a baby sick or something like that. I hate leaving that, I hate leaving. First of all, I hate leaving, period, right? When you have to travel for work, I don't like leaving my babies, but I have to. And it's, I love my job. And I always say that, as a mother, you can love both. You can love your job and you can love your children, right? I don't think that you have to choose. And I think that a lot of times, society will make us think that we have to choose between our kids or our spouses and our work. And I believe that we can have all of those things and also still be happy. But that part made me sad that he's, not feeling too well, and then I have to leave. And so what I have to do is I have to begin to really create my own happiness in this moment on how I'm going to move forward, because we're always going to have moments of sadness in our lives, right? So the question is, how do you actually create your own happiness versus harping or really getting sucked into the moment of whatever it is happening in your life, sadness, all of the pain, and all of those things? Well, one of the ways you create your own happiness is through action, right? Through that 40%, your day to day activity. Now, here's the thing: we always think that things happen to us. Things happen to us. I am under the impression that we can create and have things happen that are for us, right? That are for us. And when I start to get frustrated about my day, I will then have to take a step back and be like, all right, what can I do? Right. So let's take a typical day. Well, I mean, you might want to take the typical day in the life of Dr. Kiki Ramsey. It's crazy. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure like yours. If you're anything like me, you're on calls back to back to back to back to back all day long. If you're on calls all day long, how do you get work done? Exactly. That is the absolute thing that as a coach, I help my executives try to manage and work out. but I'm on calls pretty much all day long, whether it's a coaching call, a call with a company who we're going to be doing some coaching with, a call with the company that I'm going to be speaking with, a call with my coaches for PCADI, whatever. I'm on calls all day long. But when that happens to me and it's back to back, I tend to get frustrated. I tend to get really, really frustrated. So in those moments, if I want to create my own happiness, I have to then take a step back and say, okay, in this moment, what can I do? What can I do to alleviate some of the stress that I'm beginning to feel, right? Because I have all these calls back to back. And so one of the things I might do is I may turn around and just take a break, take a 5, 10, 15-minute break in between it. If I can, in between calls, I may get up, I might stretch. I may, if I have time, which I normally block out my lunch schedule. I try to take that lunch all the time, and I might take that lunch outside on the patio. I might take the dog for a walk. I might take it in front of the TV and watch a show. I have to do something that's different, right? To break up the moment, to break up the time. And I think that if we start practicing having more positive actions in our life, more positive things that are going on that we are in charge of, that's when we actually are able to create more happiness for ourselves. Again, if you're here watching or you're listening, go ahead and give yourself a shout out in the chat as well. But that's how you actually begin to create, more happiness in your life, is that you actually begin to take these actions for yourself every single day and understand that you absolutely have the power to really create your own happiness. So here's the thing. I just launched what I call Happy Women Lead. This is a community of leaders, like-minded women, professionals. It's for professional women in leadership who actually are committed to their own happiness, right? Because here's the thing, I believe this, and I think media will tell you that you can't, or that you can't have it all, right? People always say, we can't have it all, we can't have it all, and also still be happy. But I think that you can. Now, the thing is this, I think that people judge having it all as equal parts, right? Like we are completely balanced. We have equal parts. And when I talk about work-life balance, I don't ever mean equal parts, because at 1 month, I might be able to spend so much time with my children and with my husband. And I'm just like, yes, I'm winning in the mom department and everything like that. I'm winning in the wifey department. I am rocking it and killing it, right? So I feel really, really good about that. But I might not be killing it over here in the business part. I might not hit, the financial goals that I might have. I might not have hit some of the contracts that I wanted to bring into the organization. I might just feel terrible about this side over here, but I'm still working it. Now, we ain't quitting, right? I'm still working it, but I might not be hitting all the goals over here, but I might be hitting them over here, right? And so that's not equal parts. And then another month, I might have to leave like I got to do today and go on a work trip while my little boo-boo is sick, right? While he's just not feeling good, right? So I might not feel awesome and be able to spend as much time on the mom front, but I'm killing it over here on the job front. I'm being able to do what I love, all those things, right? It's not equal parts, right? It's not equal parts. And I think that a lot of times we think that it has to be equal. And even as a mom, it's always interesting, right? As a mother, I think that if we say, ooh, I ain't going to spend that much time with my children this month or this week or today, we think that then ultimately means that we are a bad parent. Cut it out. It doesn't. And I had to tell myself this so much, because here's the thing. When I was getting my PhD, it took me, 3.5 years to get my PhD. I'm gonna tell you this. I was focused, and the reason why I was so focused on getting the PhD done was because I knew that once I finished the PhD, I'd have the time that I want to spend with the family. But the PhD was a huge goal for mine. Honestly, it was a lifelong goal of mine to become a psychologist. And so I knew I needed to get it done. And so what did that mean? That meant I had less time for my babies. That meant I had less time for my husband. That meant I had less time for me. Like, not to mention me, I got to be okay too, right? You got to be okay as well. I think we focus so much on other people that we're not okay. And so I had less time for all of that. But at the end of the day, I knew number one why I was doing it. So I knew my why. And I knew that it was only for a very short period of time. That time frame is dependent on you, right? Whatever your time frame is. But I always say that when I have a big goal that I know has an end date, I'm like, you know what? I can go hard in the paint because it's only for a short period of time. When I get it done, it's going to be done and I'm able to move on with my life, right? So it's not equal parts. And you don't have to feel bad because you can't give everything equal parts. It needs to work for you. It needs to work for you. I was blessed in the moment and grateful that I have a wonderful husband, Jamil Ramsey. Shout out to the best husband in the world, who supported me through my PhD. And likewise, I supported him through his PhD because it's no joke, right? But it wasn't equal. I couldn't give equal time to everything during that time in my life. And that's probably very true for you. There's no way that you probably can give equal time to everything. So you have to ask yourself, is that necessary? Do you necessarily have to give equal time to everything? But I'm saying all of this to say, right, that when it comes to creating your own happiness, you choose, you decide what actions are going to be helpful for you to then choose those. Valerie, thanks for joining. Self-care. Yes, Valerie, you talked about self-care as a key and it's important daily. It's definitely important for us to have that self-care, because if you're not good and if you don't put that mask on yourself first, I don't understand how we will survive, right? If you don't put the mask on yourself first. And yes, SBS, you started walking 15 minutes a day, girlfriend. That right there is amazing. My assistant, she actually goes on a walk every day during her lunch break. And I am a champion for her to do that, because we have to take care of ourselves, because I know the more she takes care of herself, the more she's going to be able to service and help take care of me and all the things that we're doing here in the organization. And so it really depends on our actions. Now, a lot of us think, when it comes to happiness and positivity, it's like all we hear is think positive, think positive, think positive, right? That's not what I'm saying here. I think that we can, use positive thinking as a tool to help us, become happier. But I don't think it's the main tool, right? I really think that when you create your day-to-day activities, what you do, how you set your intention for the day, and actually implement that, is the thing that is going to be a game changer in your life. So one of the things that I do, how do you do this, Kiki? All right, I'm gonna tell you. There are a couple of things that I do that really help me. Number one, create my own happiness on a day-to-day basis, right? We're now getting down to the nitty-gritty. We're talking about the day-to-day basis. Number one, I get up at 5. Now, this past couple of weeks, I've been so exhausted. So it's been 5, 5:30, 6 o'clock, that kind of thing. But my goal is to get up at 5 to give myself that 1 hour before my kids get up to go to work, because I think that 1 hour gives me so much joy and power. Am I a morning person? No. So they'll be like, oh, Kiki, I can't get up at 5 because I'm not a morning person. Child, I'm a night owl. I can honestly stay up all night. Why, working, watching TV, doing all the things, right? But when I changed my life to get up earlier, it was a game changer. Here's why. Because when I get up earlier, number one, I can sit in some silence. I can pray. I can put on my armor for today because, baby, let me just tell you, there are some things that are going to pop up for you in your day that you need that armor on in order to help you get through your day. So for me, I get up. It gives me the opportunity to pray and do my devotion, put on that whole armor, and I just feel like I need that. And it gives me a moment to just think. When was the last time that you were able to just think? Like, just think, uninterrupted, think. Some of y'all need that. I'm just going to be honest. Some of your problems will be solved with you getting up an hour earlier, 10, 15, 20 minutes earlier than everybody else so that you can just think. I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking to somebody. I'm just saying, right? So I get up and I have the opportunity to think, to pray, to, do mindfulness, all of that kind of stuff. And then the next thing that I do is I work out. Y'all, let me tell you about working out in the morning. Now, this is nothing against if you work out after work. I think, however you get it in is good. The point is you getting it in, right? I know that some people ain't getting it in. So, but I love working out in the morning because what it does for me in terms of my mindset, it puts me where I need to be. And also when I work out in the morning, especially when I sweat, I feel accomplished. So I've already checked something off my list and I feel absolutely accomplished. And so I get off, my Peloton tread or my Peloton bike or whatever. If you're out there, I'm Kiki, do you love me on Peloton? But I get off either one of those machines and I'm just like, I did that. I mean, I might not even want to work out. Y'all think that I like to work out in the sense that I feel like working out every single morning. I don't. I am human, y'all. I'm a human being. So I get up sometimes, I be like, oh God, I don't want to work out. But here is the thing. I know the moment that I get on one of those machines or the moment I at least get off, I'm going to feel better because I'm going to feel accomplished. I might still physically be tired or something like that, but I always feel accomplished, right? Even if I walk like 10, 15, 20 minutes on the tread and do a 5-minute abs or whatever, I still feel accomplished. And for me, those endorphins that are released in me and that feeling of accomplishment, it absolutely aids me in my day. I don't like to even put on clothes, like, dress clothes or anything like that until I work out. Like I make that a thing for me. Like I can't even get dressed until I done worked out or until I done something, right? And so I think that that's super important. But those two things, right? Getting up early enough to give myself some time to pray, to do my devotion, to put on my armor, all of that, and working out allows me to create the happiness that I need every single day because it's in the action, right? It's in the doing of what I'm doing. So let me just say this. If you're not a person who gets up in the morning early, number one, because there's a lot of people who don't get up early in the morning, and that's okay, right? Like no judgment, right? None of that. And if you're not a person who works out in the morning, that's cool too. What I'm saying for you is I still think that it's worth you setting your intention for the day, right? Because there are going to be things that pop up out of the blue that's going to piss you off or that's going to make you mad or that's going to throw you off from what you was doing and make you go in a whole nother direction and all of that. There are those things that are going to happen for you. So at least, the minimum, set your intention for the day. Like I intend to have a good day. Y'all seen those videos on TikTok and on Instagram? Today gonna be a good day. Gonna be a good day. Even if that's what you do, right? Set your intention because I think that is super important because when those things pop up and mind you, I said when and not if, because something gonna happen, right? Whether it be today, tomorrow, or down the road, it's gonna happen. So if you set that intention, I promise you, you can say to yourself, I already knew something like this was going, something was going to set me off, but I'm good. I'm prepared because today going to be a good day. I'm going to be okay. And this is not a big deal. I think that a lot of times we have to give category 1 emotions to category 1 situations, right? Some situations are not category 10, right? And don't require category 10 emotions. We have to place the appropriate amount of effort on the thing that pops up in front of us from day to day. And that all happens with the way you respond to it. And the response is an action, right? Your response is an action. You can choose to respond and blow up, or you can choose to respond appropriately in the way that it should be handled, right? And so I have to always bring it back sometimes when I get like super mad and I'm like, is this category 1 or is this category 6 or is this category 10? Like, what response should I be giving to this? And once I figure that out, I'll be like, child, this category 2. I ain't even about to, I'm not going to even worry about this. I'm going to continue having a good day. And that's how you do it. So I want us to stop, going out there looking for happiness, because you cannot find that in other people. Happiness is created within yourself from your own emotions. We all have that saying that you can't depend on somebody else to do what it is you're supposed to do, right? Like you can't depend on somebody else's actions to make you happy. So that's a whole nother topic, right? When it becomes to relationships, how we want our spouses to make us happy and stuff like that. Ooh, I ain't gonna get into it, right? But I want you to go out there and create your own happiness, because it is in your own actions. That whole 40% or whatever percentage that you wanna call it, that whole 40% is your responsibility, right? Like you have control over that. You have control over your actions. And so I really hope this helped as it pertains to you creating your own happiness. I believe that, yes, you can have a family and also have an amazing, banging career. I believe that. I also think that you don't have to choose between being unhappy and happy, right? They go hand in hand. You're going to have some unhappy moments, but you can also have a happy life, right? I also don't believe that you have to choose between success and failure, right? You can be successful while also having some failures along the way. I've had so many failures along my way in terms of business, and just even times where I'm thinking I haven't been a great parent or a great wife, but at the end of the day, I'm still overall successful. And I hope that you can see it the same way for your life as well. So I invite you all to share this, the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show, with somebody who you really think want to and need to create their own happiness. I want you to be able to share that with them. And I also want to invite you to Happy Women Lead. It is a community full of women professionals who are committed to leading happy lives in life and at work, right? That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be doing a lot of coaching, a lot of community building, support building, and a lot of success building, because I believe you can lead at high levels while also doing the other things. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank y'all all for who were here live as well. And please, like I said, share this podcast and this message with somebody who needs it today. All right. Until next time, go out, y'all, and create your own